Are we
Woman
gonna
in
t-
charge.
we're gonna
Boss
take
lady
any?
in charge.
Do you take any
Young lady.
questions or no? You don't take questions. Do you?
So
Not
yeah.
really. If they not really because it's something else I need to bring up. I
Well,
want.
this I wish they would get into, but you do with that Corsicana is my grandmother would say, all you colored folk in here get mad at what the white folk are doing to you. When we got mad, we'd take a scalp, nail it to the lodge pole, and everybody would smile. You need to learn what that means. I kind of devoted most of my life to learning what that meant, but
Mm,
it was an interesting observation.
all right. So one more thing I want to bring up, right? Because it's going down memory lane. This is my favorite. Yes. First of all, I love every movie you've done. You are a supreme actor, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Dr. Burke is forever, ever, ever. My I love Dr. Burke. I loved him with Christina. I loved the storyline. If I was younger watching this, I probably would have wanted to go to med school.
I
And
have a lot of people that have done that,
yes, and we were
and
talking about
this was
imagery and representation. Go ahead.
there was a lot. I suffered a lot of colorism while I was at the Howard University. I never ran into Kamala Harris. I was there in 86, 87, and could no longer afford to stay and went off to New York and was hoping I could come back and get my final semester and degree from life experience, but that did not happen with the Dr. Kara Singleton at the time. I was misinformed. But ultimately, my goal in 1986, by 1996, I wanted to become another Washington in addition to my hero, Denzel Washington, because people told me at the time that I was, my hair, I need to get S curl in my hair or get plastic surgery on my nose, or I was too dark, I was too this. I would never be a leading man. So I had a plan, 10-year plan. Well, I'm going to change that. I'm going to change the world and how you see a more melanated individual. You're not going to see him as a criminal. You're not going to see him as a rapist. So that was the pinnacle of my dream. 20 years later, by 2006, I achieved my goal. I never wanted to be I thought I would retire with $80 million in the bank at the age of 52. When I was there, I was 42. Look younger than my years, but due to my wisdom and my expertise, that was a penalty for me. A lot of people didn't know my film history. They didn't know I had a fan base, and they didn't treat me as important as I think Shonda Rhimes had treated me and valued me. So we know how that ended. My contract wasn't renewed. I didn't know that I had the power of a Barack Obama because there was no Barack Obama yet. But
Right.
I didn't know I had the power of the world eyes on me because I wasn't treated as such. We were working 6 days a week, 18, 19, sometimes 20 hours a day until Saturday. I didn't see. I was like Bass Reeves. My kids called me the dimple in the pillow. The penalty for that show, the success of that show, doing 22, 25 episodes because of capitalistic greed, I never saw my family for 3 years. And I finally picked up my son. My middle son is now turning 21, 22 this year. No, 21. He cried and ran around the private school play yard,
Mhm.
playground and crying and telling all his school kids, I told you I had a daddy. I told you I had a daddy. Because he never saw me. I never put him to sleep or read him a bedtime story the whole time I was on that show. He suffered from that, and we're still working on that in our relationship to this day.
Mm.
James Daniels, that was one of the African American leads, detective. Usually, when you're on TV, you're playing like Sid Starsky and Hutch. You play the brash, uh, sage figurehead, but you don't get to say much. You're either the
Mhm.
chief, but you don't get to participate. You to get a few shots of you so they can. Yeah, ABC was notoriously bigoted, and
Mhm.
CBS as well at that time, 20, 30 years ago. I came in right on the tail end of it because if you remember, Ella DeGeneres, when she came out, ABC fired her. They killed her show.
The Ellen Show. Yeah, the first
Yeah,
the sitcom. Yeah,
yeah,
when she came out.
from
Yeah.
from ABC Disney. Ironically, they couldn't get behind a gay woman. Ironically, imagine that.
Now it's
Uh, and now it's all about that,
Now
right?
they prop her up all the time, no matter
Yeah,
how poor her
yeah.
ratings are.
Yeah, but
Supposed to be
she's
super.
off
Couldn't even break
she's off the air
1.0
now.
now.
She's off the air now. But at that time, I even wrote a 3x5 card in supporting her because I thought she was funny. But the irony is that how I made my exit, which was not the true narrative and still isn't. I'm still being penalized for it. I'm not being penalized for that. I'm being penalized for self-defense. I'm
Mhm.
being penalized for defending myself against a castmate who didn't look like me, who assaulted me more than once physically. The penalty is that this is what happens when a buck defends himself. You know,
Mhm.
it has nothing to do with what I said. It has everything to do with what I stood for.
Mhm.
Is you cannot
What you
abuse me.
did not want to do, and
Yeah,
this.
you're not going to assault my person and
Mhm.
get away with it. Especially if I've given you three opportunities. Everybody plays baseball, three strikes and you're out, right?
Right.
So what people don't know is that I defended myself because if there was any issues of what I've said about what I've said on Twitter about the truth, I would have been hit with a cease and desist by now.
Mhm.
If everything that I'm saying is inaccurate, I would have been hit with a cease and desist by now. But it doesn't matter because a lot of people don't want the truth when it comes to strong, so-called black men. They enjoy punishing us. They enjoy emasculating us. They enjoy, it's like that scene, in 12 Years a Slave with Chua in jail for when they just lynch you enough where your toes can touch the ground
Mhm.
in the sun, and then every other female slave that want to come and help you and give you some water, your parched lips, and the rest of the slaves, get on away from here. You're going to get us all killed. That's Hollywood. Nobody's going to come to my help in Hollywood that looks like me because they know they can get yayed.
Mhm.
But the
Mhm.
beauty about it is that I'm become, I don't want to become dead and a martyr, but I become a bit of a beacon for fairness, a beacon for not redemption, but just, you know, fairness. That wasn't right. The punishment didn't fit the crime. It still doesn't. But
Right.
yet, as Maya Angelou says, yet still I rise. And I'm not rising because of anything that I wasn't doing 30 years ago. I've always took my vocation seriously. I've always tried to be as prepared and give you the best performance for your buck, and more importantly, for your time.
Right.
If you're going to take an hour and 42 minutes or 42 minutes to watch what I'm doing, God damn it, I better be worth it. I better be worth it.
Mhm.
And my biggest fear as an actor is not being believed. I don't care whether you like the character. I didn't write it or create it. I don't care if you like. It's not me. I know the phenomenon. Is people can't separate the human being, the actor, from the character. And I understand the phenomenon. As annoying as it can be, but ultimately, it's like a boxer, man. I come in to win. I don't come
Mhm.
in to get knocked out.
Yeah.
That's how I step on the set.
Right.
That's the energy I bring. So you bring your A game. I'm not going to dim my performance because you're insecure or you're not talented or you're not prepared or you're just white or you blue or you green. Hey, baby, one scene or 25 or 50 scenes, I'm going to bring it not for uh, the person in front of me, but for you,
Right.
Dana, for you, Judge.
Yes.
That's my job, is to entertain you. That's it. That,
Right.
that- that's it. And the ultimate goal is for you to go, not only did you get it right, hell, I didn't even recognize you. That's the biggest goal, the achievement. I'm sorry, no disrespect. Other than Training Day, Denzel hasn't even been allowed to be a character actor. I've been a character actor where you didn't recognize me and a leading man. That's a double threat. Hollywood, and then they didn't give me permission.
Mhm.
And if you see Welcome to Collinhood, I could do comedy. I'm funny in real life. People, I'm a hoot.
You are funny. You are. You know where I want to see you next.
Uh,
We reaching the 2 hour mark. Technically it
okay.
should be 205 or 210.
Okay.
But I want to see you on Broadway.
Too much work now. My feet hurt. Too
Oh
old for it now.
no, you
They have to put a wick in my ear. I'll be a cheat. It won't be authentic, and I'm not going to go out like
no,
that.
no. It's
I'm not
people
going to take
older
your
than you.
money. Nah, it's too much work. It's those 8 days. When I was a traditionalist, those eight shows a week. Two on Sunday. Those were exciting because I was single.
Mhm.
But I would be home available to. I love my family. I love being with my family too much.
But the kids are grown, your wife is
Yeah,
with you
yeah,
being in
yeah.
the city,
We'll see. You know what? We'll see.
I'm pretty sure you had offers.
Yes, I have many, many. over the years. Uh, I just couldn't afford it. I mean, they just weren't willing to pay me enough to sustain my particular lifestyle that I feel like I've earned. I mean, I live within my means,
Right.
but
But you're talking about the sacrifice of your time
and my
committed.
time,
Okay, yeah.
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 And at a time when I was getting those kinds of offers, and I think out of a lot of empathy and respect for what I contributed to the theater, when they knew I was put on the non-hire list, they were just trying to help me out. My children were younger, but because I had spent so much time away from my middle son,
Right.
I
During the
didn't want to.
race. Yeah.
I didn't want to do that to my daughter.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
wanted to be as available. Now, my wife would tell you differently because for years and years, she would be getting uh, constant stream of revenue and managing all the money as my CFO, and she
Mhm.
didn't have to deal with me for 3 months, 6 months out of the year. Now, since I've been available, I don't know if she really wants to hang out with me as much. It's like, damn. And she would look at me like, ain't you going somewhere? Don't
Right.
you
You
have
got a
somewhere to go? No,
movie?
no, no, no. But no, actually, I got to know my wife better. I've got to know
Mhm.
my kids better.
Yes.
They've gotten to know me better. So there's always a silver lining in what looks like a negative. It's
It's not
actually
always about the money, and all money is not good
well,
money.
no, no,
Right?
no. It's always about the money. Don't get it twisted. I've been broke. I've been poor. I choose having being solvent. I'm sorry. But ultimately, it's not about me being overtly wealthy in that way, and
Mhm.
I never wanted to get my wealth the way Hollywood would have preferred me to do it. You're not going to have access to my wife whenever you decide. You're not going to have access to me whenever you decide. You're not going to have access to my kids. You're
Mhm.
not going to respect me or my kids physically, spiritually, emotionally, verbally. I'm not going to play those kinds of games. So it's a trade off. If you don't get to do that, then no tiki, no taffy. So then, all right, fuck you then. I'll go make my own movies. And that's where I'm at.
All right, so listen.
Don't judge him, Joe Brown.